Okay, these are my picks for the top 10 best films of 2016. Let's get straight into it because I'm a month late on this video. Honorable mentions, I'll do 10, I won't get into them, I'll just go 20 to 11. The Lobster. Other people? Don't Think Twice. Manchester by the Sea. The Light Between Oceans. Maggie's Plan. Born to be Blue. The Nice Guys. Jackie. And Fences. Those movies are great, but these movies are better. Let's get into it. Number 10. Everybody Wants Some. This is Richard Linklater's newest film, the one right after Boyhood, and it's maybe better than Boyhood? What I like so much about this movie is that it focuses all of its energy on just being a slice of life movie. It doesn't get distracted by all the other bullshit that movies do. It's just a slice of life. It's 3 days in the life of this guy who is just getting to college and he's part of the college baseball team. It's easy to get involved in this movie because it does have a clearly defined main character, and that remains throughout the entirety of the film. In a lot of movies like this, there's either not a clearly defined main character, there's no main character at all, so it's an interesting slice of life, but it's hard to really get involved. That's not the case with Everybody Wants Some. There is a main character, there is an arc. It's great. There are a lot of characters in the movie. It is an ensemble movie, but there's not too many characters where they're not all compelling. All of the characters in Everybody Wants Some are interesting enough and compelling enough to have it be entertaining as an ensemble film. Adding to that, it's a Linklater movie, so there's the trademark Richard Linklater sincerity amongst the whole thing, honesty, realism. Richard Linklater. Captain Fantastic is number 9. Now this is the movie that, like, personally I'll probably rewatch the most times out of all the ones on this list. I've already seen it 3 times. The themes are presented cleverly, the dialogue is dynamic and believable, and most importantly, the main conflict in this movie is very compelling. It's just as compelling as the eventual resolution, which I always like to see in a film. Not to mention the lead performance by Viggo Mortensen is one of the best of the year. Just an incredibly honed in and specific performance. Number 8, American Honey. American Honey is a very good film for one very specific reason. It took me to a world that I realistically know nothing about. Realistically, I know nothing about the Midwest rural American young adult lifestyle and also going door to door to sell magazines. The road trip lifestyle. Realistically, I know nothing about that. But this movie took me there and made me care about it. Sometimes the trademark of a really good film is how much it can make you care about something within the 2 hours. In American Honey's case, 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's a long film. American Honey took me on a journey, and I'm really into that. Speaking of journeys, my number 7 is Silence by Martin Scorsese. I don't understand why this movie is getting overlooked by the Academy, but I'm gonna move on. Everything about this movie is like well crafted and proper and good. I had very few issues with the movie. It's well crafted, it's disciplined, it's very involving. The stakes are with you from minute 1. And whenever I think about Silence, I think about the emotional climax of the movie because it is a moment of cinema, really. Like it's a beautiful visual moment communicating the end of an arc. And it's presented in a very powerful and very gripping way. And I'm going to remember that part of Silence for a long time to come. Number 6 is my annual inclusion of Denis Villeneuve on my best of list, Arrival. Honestly, he could direct a high school graduation video for some high school in like Innisfail, and it would be like my favorite movie of the year. The movie is a great collaboration on like every level. Denis Villeneuve collaborates with every person on that crew and communicates to them very well what he wants his vision to be. He works very well with his actors. All that comes across on screen because his movies are all so uniform. And Arrival really shares a very important message about the importance of communicating with each other, which I think is a very important message in the world today. Number 5, La La Land. Yes, it's not number 1 on my list, but I still think it's great, okay? La La Land is going to get just this insane backlash, and it's going to happen soon because of this incredible reception that it's getting and the critical response and the audience response. Everybody loves this movie, but it's going to get that backlash soon. People might move past the musical aspect of the film because, yes, it doesn't have the best singing, it doesn't have the best dancing. But in my opinion, what will make La La Land great for years to come is the incredible chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. The movie has an incredible production aspect to it, and more than anything, there's just obviously a lot of love went into this movie. It's such a labor of love, this movie, and it's so romantic. Every shot in this movie is romantic, and there's love in it, and it's hard not to watch the movie and love it because of that. Number 4, Sing Street. What La La Land does great, Sing Street does even better. Sing Street does outstandingly. I talked earlier about how the trademark of a good film sometimes can be to make you care about something within the 2 hours. Sing Street made me fall in love with the characters within the first 10 minutes, and then never let go of that. I only grew more and more involved as the movie went on, and the end reached this incredible moment of payoff, and it had an incredible ending because of those reasons. Makes me really happy the percentage of movies on this list that are not dark and depressing and introspective, because I used to think that that's what made a great movie. But every now and then some movies come along that are happy and full of joy and full of love that are also very good, and Sing Street I think is a shining example of that. It's a very happy and positive and idealistic movie, but it doesn't take any shortcuts because of that. It doesn't think that's enough. It still crafts a very good story with very great characters and a great ending. Also, the music is great. Now to a film that is dark and depressing and introspective. Number 3 is Nocturnal Animals. I love Nocturnal Animals. Out of all the movies on this list, I think this is the one that I've talked to people in real life, like actual face-to-face conversation, like I've recommended to people the most. I think that's because it's such a challenging piece of art, and you don't watch movies like this very much. It challenges the very conventions and structures of storytelling in film. The most obvious way that it does that is through its 3 narratives. There's a narrative with Amy Adams' character, present day. There's a narrative with her and Jake Gyllenhaal's character in flashback, and there's a narrative of the novel that she's reading that was written by Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Gyllenhaal also plays the character in the novel. So it's trippy, but like really good. And that's what I was thinking about for about 2 days after I watched the movie, but then what kept me thinking about it and makes me think about it to this day is how dark the themes are. They're very dark themes of grief and suffering and revenge, and the movie doesn't flinch from those themes at all. It presents them as bitter and terrible as they are. All the performances are great, the direction is great, it's great. Number 2, Moonlight, obviously. The filmmaking in this film is almost perfect. It's probably objectively one of the better made films of the last few years. Cinematic execution of ideas and of screenplay rarely get as good as it is in Moonlight. What I mean by that is that it's a very good screenplay, but also what Barry Jenkins does to take that off of the page and onto the screen in a very emotionally affecting way is brilliant. The work that he does as a director is something that should be taught in film schools. The movie is so heartbreaking because of how lived in it is and how real it feels to everyone that watches it. I really hope that Barry Jenkins wins the Best Director Oscar. Okay, one more, and my number 1, without a doubt in my mind, is Swiss Army Man. This movie is number 1 for me because of how stupendously high it aims and gets there. The movie goes for clever, profound, ridiculous, and slapstick at the same time, and achieves it all. Watching this movie is like being in a trance. It's like being in a dream, but like a really good dream. A dream that feels realistic, but once you wake up, you're like, yeah, there's no way that my life can physically be like that, but I'm glad I got there, you know? Swiss Army Man is utterly captivating in every single way, and there was never a doubt in my mind that it was my favorite film of 2016. Every time I make these lists, I get really excited to find out what my favorites are going to be next year, and the year after that, and hopefully I still love movies at that point. Maybe I'll go rogue and go live in the woods or something like that. Maybe. What do you think of my list? Let me know. Comment. Let's talk about it if you watch my videos, if anyone's watching. Hello. See you later. Person, city person.